5 ways to break the deadlock of quarrels. Do you often quarrel with your boyfriend or husband or family? When quarreling, were you the hot or cold quarrel? Whether it is quarreling with family or partners, setting off a cold war or cold treatment, it often leads to many undesirable consequences and makes the relationship worse. When I was passively started the Cold War, how should I crack it? Is the person who bows his head first destined to be the loser? Let me take you this time to take a look at the corresponding strategies of the Cold War. 1. Bowing is not admitting mistakes. As long as I bow my head this time, I will apologize first. During the Cold War, it seemed that both sides were waiting for the other to admit their mistakes first, but no one wanted to show weakness first. The Cold War period would continue to stretch and play off indefinitely. The editor thinks, don't use silence to fight silence. During the Cold War, I believe that both sides are uncomfortable. The best way is to talk to each other first and open a friendly bridge. First observe whether the other party has calmed down, or is he still pretending not to care, pretending to be okay. After recognizing that bowing is not an acknowledgement, open a topic he might want to respond to, such as, "Are you still angry? I'm so hungry, do you want to eat first?" 2. Down the steps. I wonder if you have ever heard the truth that love means compromise. During the Cold War, did you feel more tired than fighting? Don't you think it's hard to pretend that you're doing well, but want to know what the other person is doing from time to time, and to double check if he has updated Facebook, IG, or Twitter, etc.? Doesn't it feel hard? The editor suggests that whether you were in the Cold War during the quarrel, or the Cold War initiating the party, after a period of calming each other, it is better to take the initiative and use some verbal skills to bring the opponent down the steps. For example, "Hurry up and apologize to me. Will you be like this in the future? Do you know that I'm sad?" Lines. Let the other party respond to you. Break the Cold War, and quickly rebuild the old one. 3. Set a deadline. The editor knows that you are very angry, but during the Cold War, you still have to set a deadline in your heart. Whether it is, an hour later, if he doesn't knock me, it will be over before tonight. If he doesn't read my message anymore, I will block him. And even let the other side know that they are waiting for him to cease the war, and there is a deadline for both sides. Otherwise, the Cold War would be stretched out inexplicably, and at the end of the day, I didn't know what I was angry about. It would be more than a loss. The editor is impatient. When the ex-boyfriend was in a Cold War, if he didn't set the final deadline in his heart, the editor would go into a dead end and start performing a small theater. In the end, he was dazzled by his sad fantasies. All tired. 4. Reflect on yourself. Obviously, it's not my fault. The editor knows that you are full of grievances, but we should not be dominated by emotions in our anger. Let us calm down and reflect on ourselves. Seeing who is right and who is wrong in this quarrel, I know what to do next. If it is your own fault and unilaterally provoking disputes, then you should think about, do you want to continue this relationship seriously? Does this relationship have bored you, so that you will never fight for a fight? Or are you just unable to control your temper for a while, and can't pull your face down and bow your head? To crack this Cold War mode, the editor recommends that you find a diary, or write an electronic memo or mail to yourself, and record all your reflections and emotions at the moment. Every time before the Cold War starts, both the sense of sight will come, tangible and intangible, to help you step on the brakes. 5. Communicate clearly afterwards. Is the mode of your quarrel hot or cold? Regardless of whether it is a hot or cold quarrel, you should communicate clearly after the quarrel to ensure that the same plot will not happen again next time. Do you hate being said to be fat, hate the other person, or start quarreling because he is not caring every time you Cold War? It doesn't matter after the Cold War, but you must have a conclusion. Learn from every unpleasantness, and don't have endless reincarnation. When reviewing afterwards, don't forget to praise each other more. Say more good memories of each other, and mend the relationship.